Is this thing working? Are we live? Looks like we're live. What's happening, everybody? Everybody's having a fantastic, whatever day you're watching this. A little bit of a change of pace. We are setting up the new GSXR 1000R, new to me anyway, as I just picked this up today. So what I'm in the process of doing is going over the suspension on this motorcycle because it is a damn sight different than this one over here. That bike has the standard suspension on it. This one has the BFF front forks and the little bit different rear shock that I'm in the process of trying to work through. So I will be bumping back and forth with my trusty owner's manual, and we're going to get this thing set up. What I want to do, and the main takeaway on this is I'm checking to make sure that the bike is set up per the book. And if it's not, what changes did the previous owner make? And just like with my bike, you know, with Red Alert, that bike was set up, and the way that that bike comes from the factory is extremely stiff. Like, it's unbearably stiff. The R model, you would think R, racing, all that, right? Well, the funny thing is it's set up very soft. And I mean, like bouncing up and down kind of soft. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, I'm going through and making some changes, or let me rephrase that. I'm finding out what changes were made and just noting them. And this is real important. Anytime you pick up a bike, whether it's new or used, you've got to go through that machine and check and make sure that all the preload is set right and all of your hydraulics, which are just to say the settings on the shock and the forks, making sure that those are set up. So I am going to get to it real quickly. We're going to be setting preload, just making sure that, or finding out where it is. Counterclockwise until it stops. Turn the adjuster clockwise, 7 3/4 turns. That sounds boring. So what do we say? Counterclockwise until it stops. Let's see how long that takes. We've got, in fact, let me do something here. Let me just do a little sign her. Whenever you're doing stuff like this, I don't know if you can see it. That contraption right down there, that is, what the hell, a slacker. It's called a slacker, and what it's measuring is the rear preload, basically. Measuring the sag, but it's basically finding out how much preload this bike has, and then you reset from there. So far as I can tell, the back sitting at 37 millimeters, the front sitting at 38. I don't really have a problem with those settings. I don't know if the guy did anything. I'm about to find out on the fronts. But the funny thing is that it's nowhere close to where the other bike was from the factory. So anyway, it's close, but it's not. It's close to where it ended up, but it's not exactly there. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a little bit of tape here. The painter's tape is awesome. By the way, I did just pick this bike up today. I've already done a bunch of work to it. I say a bunch of work, not really a bunch of work. It's actually just a bunch of fun stuff. We got the mirror block-offs on. I put the stock windscreen from that bike on it. And now it's just all mainly set up. So anyway, I think we got the usual suspects in. Boys, what is going on? Hope y'all are having a good one. I'm using the tape to mark the top of this fork so I can keep track of where the heck I am in this whole thing. Hopefully it stays there. Anyway, we check in with you guys and see what's going on, and then I will be back to work on this contraption. DM is in. I got the ball guy with the flex and the specs. Marco is in. What's up, man? DM saying, sweet new bike. Thank you much. Marco saying, I want to buy another car. What do you think about a C7 Grand Sport? Cam and headers, one of my favorite all-time cars to drive. Carl's checking in with ribs and baked potato. Man, I had beans and rice and a potato tonight, man. I'm loving it. Got the cold Corona, man. I like it. God, you cannot beat Corona with a pair of limes, man. DM saying our model probably has better valving in the BPF than the BPF. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the BFFs in the R model, I'm pretty sure are better. I'm on the fence right now with the rear. The rear. So there's a video that I'm not going to put out. It's me basically breaking in these tires, and it's funny because this bike, once you get it up to speed, it's really good. It's funny though, there's a like a transition zone though where it gets a little bouncy, and I just have to expect it. It's kind of funny. I'm trying to tune some of that out, and apparently the previous owner was trying to tune some of that out too, as they had made some pretty significant, well, not significant. They had made some changes to the rear suspension, trying to calm it down a little bit, and I may be doing the same thing. They went pretty aggressive on compression, so. Anyway, let's check in real quick with this. We're going to go counterclockwise. Oh, shit, that didn't work. Hang on. Let's do it a little bit differently. I'm going to go get a marker. Bear with me. Dry erase markers come in clutch when you're trying to do these little projects. All right, 7 3/4 turns. What do you think, guys? Think it'll be tighter? What do you think? Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty enthralling, isn't it? And 3/4. So yeah, the fronts are set up per factory. So all right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 3/4. So it looks like the fronts are going to be set to the factory settings. I got to check the other one. But here's the thing. I've actually found motorcycles that have come right out of the crate that have not had the suspension gone through. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to check the other side and do the same thing. I know this is exciting, isn't it? Anyway, it's the kind of stuff though that you have to do. And you know, it's kind of funny. I've always found this kind of work real calming. Like it probably check my heart rate and it's probably like at 64, right? I mean, I love just going through the thing and making sure that everything is exactly as it should be. Oh, kind of funny too. Funny story about how this bike came to be. We're going to check this right fork and I'll share that with you while I'm doing it. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 3/4. So both sides were exactly where they needed to be. I've had bikes in the past where one fork was way, way off. So let me go ahead and reset. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, and 3/4. All right, so we know that the front is set up per the book. That's good. Unfortunately, the rear isn't quite so easy. But I got to figure if the front's set up per the book, the rear is probably set up by the book, and there's no witness marks on the back shock showing that somebody had tried to adjust it. So I've got to basically kind of roll with the assumption that everything is cool there. So as far as rebound and compression dampening, so stock on this bike, let me give you an idea for where this thing was. So rebound 2.5 is what it was set to. Stock is 3, which means they were half a turn in. Compression 2 3/4. So they were 3/4 of a turn. No, they were they were 1 1/4 turns stiffer on compression. So, and I can kind of be on board with that a little bit too for this bike. But yeah, because it was kind of funny. When I first got on the bike, you know, these bikes ride a little lower in front, and so you wouldn't think that there'd be that much of a difference between the two bikes. But when you set this bike up per factory specs, it's got the handling characteristics of the GSXR 750. So close it is that if you were to just blindfold me and send me on my way, outside of the power difference, you wouldn't notice the difference between this bike and the 750, which I had to get rid of to get this bike. So the reason why I went with this bike, obviously, right, it's a freaking X-Star GSXR 1000, but it's an R model, but it's the first gen of this type of bike. And this is something that I was really looking forward to getting my hands on, mainly because, I mean, have you seen this thing? I mean, dude, look at that. I mean, look at that. Here's the deal. It is DM. Thank you so much, my man. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. Huge thanks. First gas on me, man. I love it. Well, we're going to be burning a lot of gas with this bike because there's a bit of a method to our madness. DM, man, I really do appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. So the story behind this bike is pretty funny. I kind of have a thing for the X-Star bikes, and the 750 was in the shop awaiting its exhaust. And as it was waiting, this bike came up for sale. And the funny thing about this bike coming up for sale is that I actually thought this was a customer's bike, and I had walked past it a couple of times, not realizing that it hadn't gone through its inboarding process yet. Well, once it did, it came back out, and it didn't have a plate on the back of it. And that's how I figured out pretty quickly that it was up for grabs. So what I did is I had said, hey, I want to ride the R model. I'd never really spent any real good time with an R model. And they're like, yeah, grab the keys. Well, I go to grab the keys, and it so happened that day it was just kind of crappy weather. I get back with that bike. The very next day I was riding, I did the ride review on the R1. And so the day after that, the next time I got by the dealership was when I did the video on the importance of maintenance. Bike look familiar? So anyway, I did the ride along portion of that. Well, I did the ride along chat about maintenance on this bike because it'd been sitting forever. This bike's got had 5,100 miles on it. But it looked like it'd been sitting in his garage for, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years. And so the idea was,